For the City Council regular meeting of May 19th at 7 p.m. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Ganaga?
Here.
Councilmember O'Neill?
Here.
Councilmember Prey?
Here.
Councilmember Robbins?
Here.
Mayor Swift? Mayor Pro Tem Webb?
Here.
Councilmember Workman?
Let the record show that Mayor Swift and Councilman Workman are excused for vacation. Tonight we have the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilmember Ganaga and the invocation by Councilmember Prey. Please raise.
I pledge allegiance
God Almighty, we ask for healthy, thriving relationships between neighbors. We pray that our family may be able to understand and care for one another in our communities and for the strength to lift one another up in times of hardship. In His name we pray. Amen.
Any announcements tonight, Jeff?
Yes, Your Honor, we have a couple announcements. Recreation Department, Mr. Todd Dickman.
Yes, thank you. Just want to remind everyone, with this Monday being Memorial Day, that we will have a Memorial Day service in Young Patriots Park. The service will be led by the Riverview's American Legion, Post 389. That is at 11 a.m. at the memorial. So if you get a chance, please come out and honor those who have fallen for our country. Thank you.
And, Your Honor, also the Finance Director endorsing that.
Good evening, everyone. Just wanted to let you know, we're excited about the drop box has been installed in the front of the building, so you no longer have to go into the police department to drop off your payments. It's right next to the voter drop box, so right up front, drive through, no more getting out of your car, the snow, rains, so just a nice convenient for the residents. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it, Your Honor.
Okay, awards and presentations. Tonight we recognize probationary firefighter Jordan Nadeau on his accomplishment and completion of all departmental training requirements and successful fulfillment of the probationary period. Chief Owens would like to come up.
Okay, this is apparently his dissertation from his officer. Firefighter Jordan Nadeau joined the Riverview Fire Department last May 10th, 2024, has quickly become a valuable member of the department and an asset to the community. Firefighter Nadeau brings several years of fire and EMS experience serving multiple communities in Monroe County. Firefighter Nadeau has consistently demonstrated a high level of performance, regularly meeting and frequently surpassing the expectations set forth for his role. His proactive approach is evident in his consistent early arrival at the fire station, where he immediately begins a crucial task of inspecting his equipment and assigned apparatus. This meticulous attention to detail ensures he is always prepared for immediate deployment in emergency situations. Throughout his probationary period, Firefighter Nadeau has exhibited remarkable growth in his skills and competencies, developing into a well-rounded firefighter and paramedic capable of handling a diverse range of emergency responses. Furthermore, Firefighter Nadeau possesses a strong intrinsic motivation of professional development. He actively seeks out and embraces opportunities for learning and growth through participation in a wide array of training exercises and educational activities. The practical experience Jordan has accumulated significantly enriches the team dynamic as he readily shares valuable insights and lessons learned from his experiences in the field. His colleagues benefit from his willingness to assist and offer support, fostering a collaborative and positive work environment. Jordan is a highly effective team member, seamlessly integrating into group efforts while also demonstrating the capacity for independent work. He routinely displays initiative by identifying tasks that require attention and proactively addressing them without the need for direct supervision or prompting. Firefighter Nadeau's dedication, skills, and positive attitude are anticipated to have a substantial and beneficial impact on both the fire department and the broader community we serve. His commitment to excellence and continuous improvement positions him as a valuable asset to the organization and a contributing factor to enhanced public safety. It is also my honor, when I was first hired here last September, Jordan had already been hired a couple of months prior. Not having interviewed him or knowing anything about him, we started talking. Turns out that 30 years ago, I used to work with his father. His father is a captain down at, captain, right? Okay, captain down at Monroe Township, which after I realized his background and his upbringing, kind of set me at ease. And this has definitely come through. So at this time, Jordan, could you please come up here? Captain Neto, could you please come up here? One of the time-honored traditions in the fire service is as a probationary period, he doesn't wear a badge. He's a member, but he's not a full member yet. He's got to go through the training, we'll say. Jordan has, as I read the dissertation from his officer, he has done an outstanding job. He's been phenomenal to work with. I've had a good time working with him, and I know he's going to do great things. So as a example, or as a removing his probationary status, we get to pin his badge on him. And I think it's nothing better than to have his dad, Captain Neto, be able to signify the end of his probationary status and welcome him to the full ranks of firefighter. Captain? Thank you, Chief. There's no blood, you didn't do it right. Welcome aboard, Jordan.
Congratulations, firefighter. Nadu. Got it right that time. Okay. 5-1, approve the minutes of the 5/5/25 regular city council meeting and the condensed version for publication. What's the council's wishes?
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Councilmember O'Neill, supported by Councilmember Robbins. Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilmember O'Neill?
Yes.
Councilmember Prey?
Yes.
Councilmember Robbins?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Webb?
Yes.
Councilmember Ganaga?
Yes.
Public hearing, 6-1. Tonight, we are conducting a public hearing on the proposed 2025-26 annual operating budget and supporting tax rates for the city of Riverview. Ann, go ahead. Oh,
What? Opening.
yeah, opening the hearing at 7:08.
Thank you, sir. We're waiting for it to get on the big screen so everyone can see it. There it is. All right. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to go over some slides for the 25-26 budget. Obviously, I'm not going over the whole thing. Just going over some basic summaries and some knowledge about how the budget was put together. The budget has been available online, so available for everyone to go look at it. It's a document of like 180 pages. Everyone worked on it. All the departments worked on it. It was a group effort. So on that note, just kind of just giving you the basics of how a budget is developed. The first, a lot of our budget, you can see that our revenues are basically generated, a majority is from our tax collections, right? So we charge the residents, the amount we get is based on the taxable value, which are here. We realized that there was a huge decline. Everyone heard about the decline in 2008 is when it all started. And with Headley, it couldn't go back up to not to exceed 5%. So as you can see, in the 24-25 budget year, we've actually started working on the taxable values that were back in 2008. So think of your income, and you lost your job, or your income went way down, and now in 2008, you're still trying to live at 2008 values. So had it have increased, we would have kept going up, but now you can see that we're starting getting to back. So act like we are all in 2008, and where our revenue was, and where our expenditures are, or where yours are today, considering. So when that comes, we multiply the taxable value, which everyone has on their tax return. It's not the equalized value, which is 50% of your house. It's actually the taxable value of what you're taxed on. And then what we do is multiply it by the total number of city millages that have been assessed and voted on by the city of Riverview. So if you look, rates pretty much, so you can remember again that big dip in revenue, but you can see over the years that the millages have stayed pretty consistent. So what does that tell you? That the city has been operating on diminished revenues for all those years, and now we are finally coming back and getting ahead. So in the last year, in 2024, so from 2023 to 2024, the tax millages increased by basically that 2%, which is the public safety millage, that special assessment. And so again, we have included in the budget that is being presented, but also we reduced the actual millages this year based upon our debt millage. So our debt millage has fallen off. It was a voted debt millage for roads and water mains. So that actually is the bond payment has went down. We're in our last year, and so I took down the millage of 1.2 mils. So that's why it's actually coming down. So within that is the 2% for the 2 millage for the public safety, as well as a decline of 1.2 mils for the debt fund. So if we look at general fund is our most discretionary fund. We are looking at just general fund only, and it includes, so we're budgeting for a little over $14 million in revenue. You can see 57% is property taxes, of which we just talked about. The other charges to other funds on top of 1.4 million are those that we have to charge across the board to the enterprise fund. So the enterprise funds are supposed to act as a business. So if they were to truly act as a business, they would have to collect their own payments, pay their own bills, pay their own payroll, have their finance person. So what we do is we internally charge a 4% to those funds, and that's another big revenue to the general fund for charges for services. The other big portion, we get state shared revenue, which is about $2 million. And you'll see in another slide, that's pretty much stayed stable over the years, but that's really all we get from the state to operate. And then on the bottom, license and permits are your building permits from the building department, and then your charges for services, the majority of that is ambulance fees. So we charge ambulance fees of about $800,000, and that's included in that number. So those are the revenues to the general fund. Again, we talked about state share revenue, so you can see over the last couple of years, it's pretty much stayed stable. So that is our portion that we are getting from the state. So that's pretty much staying pretty regulated. Okay, now we're going to look at uses. So what we say, these are all the different departments within the general fund, and we look at the general fund being made up of 38% of the police department is in that fund. The big ones are the fire department, which is in that fund, grounds and maintenance, administration, recreation, the community development, and the basic services that provide assistance to all the other funds. We talked about before that this graph kind of shows you the true reality of the expenditures of the police department and the expenditures of the fire department. since 2015. The black line on the top shows the amount of property taxes total to the general fund that's being collected. So as you can see, over the last several years, from 15, we had to do something because the police department and fire department were taking up the total taxes that come into the city. So the rest of administration, rest of rec, they had to rely on all those other revenues that we talked about. So this is the importance of having that special 2 mil public safety assessment so that we can at least accommodate them and take care of them and keep them whole. And that's why that importance, and this kind of shows it straight out, the importance of that public safety millage. If we look at our general fund revenues, we always talk about, well, most of our general fund, we're back to expenses. When we talk about general fund expenses, we look at payroll. So you saw that the two big departments that were fire and police, that the wages, fringes, retirement, and OPEB is the cost of other post-employment benefits. So that's what that OPEB stands for. And if you look at the total expenditures of the general fund, all those make up 68% of the expenditures. Why? We're people. We provide a service. We're not making widgets. This is what we do and this is who we are. So when we talk about that, so it's almost 70% of all expenditures in the general fund. Over the years, if we look at general fund, their revenue and expense, you can kind of see that in total, most years have been contributing some portion back into the general fund as their fund balance, and we're considering their fund balance to be your savings account. So we're trying to get that up. So if you look over the years, in 25, 26, we are trying to get that up. It's about 16% funded right now. Audit industry loves anyone's fund balance in the city to be between 15 and 25%. So we are now at like 15.9. So we are going in the right directions, which gives them a comfort level that we can sustain for 3 months if something would happen to us, if we lost all revenues. So that is a good thing. Yep. So our fund balance is about $2.2 million. Now we're going to look at some of the enterprise funds. So if we look at the enterprise funds, we're going to look at the golf. We talk about golf and the practice facility. These are together. And you can see the revenues over the past have been below what the expenditures are. We are trying to get that in line over the last couple of years. You can see that we've raised rates because we knew the expenditures were there. These are actual expenditures. So that's why we have a deficit, but we're trying to get out of the deficit. We're trying to get out. So it's probably been there for a long time. If I could go back, how long the deficit were there, but we're coming out of it. We're trying to increase revenues so that we can get it into a positive situation. If you look at cash flow for the golf course is weird because it does have a lot of anomalies for being such a small fund when it comes to enterprise funds, because obviously the golf is a smaller fund than water so you have to record all those OPEB liabilities, which you don't have to in general fund. You have to record depreciation. You have to record assets. But for a cash flow, when we budget, we kind of budget cash flow basis. So we're trying to say, okay, cash flow, do we have enough cash flow to keep at operations? And you can see over the last couple of years, we do. We're getting in and we're building that cash. So that's an important positive in the right direction. If we look at the water and sewer fund, obviously, water and sewer rates can be controlled, are sent to the resident based on usage, based on looking at what the capital needs are. You want to keep them high because now, if we look at now, in the last year that we're budgeting, we're starting to do expenditures. So we need that cash flow to do some major expenditures that haven't been done in a while. So you keep accumulating cash, but now you need to do some expenses. We need to get those expenses and do some things, and they'll be coming up on the agenda that we are looking to do that. So that's why that red line goes way up. But there's money there to absorb that red line for sure. We look at the land preserve. If you actually look at the revenue expense, obviously we know we are in a deficit situation in the land preserve. And this is an accrual basis, and what happens in the land preserve and why you have these huge spikes of the red is because they change assumptions, they change what the post-closure costs are going to cost. So they add a variation, they put something on it, so you get these huge jumps in these post-closure costs that are expensed immediately. And that's what gives you those huge, so we're trying to straighten out that line and we're trying to bring it back in. So now if we know, as it gets closer to post-closure costs, they're going to be more of a known number and not such huge fluctuations because everyone is just kind of, at a loss to, I'm not at a loss, the engineering estimates keep changing, obviously. So it looks, we know we're in a deficit. We are going to work on getting out of that deficit and coming up with a plan. We're currently working on that. So if you look at total government expenditures, I know these are small, but we'll just go. So these are all our funds. So we have general fund, major local streets, rubbish, cable, drug, library fund, block grant, debt service, capital improvements. Then there's your bottom enterprise funds, the Gulf water and sewer. We also have trust funds for our pensions and stuff that are not really budgeted. They're just fiduciary funds. And then the expenses. So basically, we're running on a $43 million revenue and a $45 million expense for the government as a whole, budgeted. Now, the revenue sources for across the board, again, we're looking at those same types of things because they come across. So now our biggest things are property taxes, which majority goes to the general fund, and then our other biggest source, obviously, is charges for services. And when I say charges for services, those are water and sewer bills, all the utility bills that the people pay. Also, all the user fees for the land preserve are included in that charges for services, and all the user fees of the golf course are in that charges for services. So there are no tax dollars going to the land preserve, golf, or water. So here's the total government expenditures by type. So obviously the land preserve total expenditures is about 12.6, so about 28% of the entire budget. Public Works makes up about 26% of the total budget. Police and Fire make up 17% of the total budget, and Recreation makes up 9%. Your general government, which is all your admin, your administration that helps provide services or help to the other departments, is 8%. And then you can see the rest are very minor in total. So obviously the land preserve, public works, police and fire make up the majority of expenses. If we look at, again, total government expenditures, wages and fringes make up about 35%. Again, we talk about that's what we do, right? And then the operations are about 35%, and then you get into infrastructure and debt service, which are about 35%. So there is a nice third of what makes up the actual workings of the government. If you look at, so we want to look at full-time employees. People are saying, well, how many employees are out there? So this gives us a good count. When we talk about OPEB and we talk about benefits and health care and liabilities and actuarials, we're only not talking about everything in this budget doesn't include 85 people. It includes 85 active full-time people and 129 retired. So these are these retired are now our legacy cost. So we actually, and this is not uncommon, that you have more retired people than you do have active. So not uncommon. Again, we talk about, the police have 24 active, 45 retired. Landfill is 15 active, 23 retired. Department of Public Works, 14 active. So you can see it is, when people realize with the golf, there's 4 full-time people running that golf. There's 1 recreation full-time person and there's 1 library full-time person. Of course, we have part-time, but these are just comparing full-time people. If you look at spending per capita, this is kind of an interesting graphic or chart. Let's just say we have 12,000 people in there. So instead of doing the user fees and the taxes, what is if we just charge by household? So it would you be better off if everyone just said, okay, these are our costs, and if we had this all together and you have 4 people, should your cost be any different if you have 3 people or 2 people? This is just a thing saying, okay, you can see how much your police and fire costs, maybe, $680 a person. And so this is just kind of just a chart to see if what is taking. Obviously, the landfill has the most. Again, it goes back to landfill has the most expenditures, public works, and police and fire. So however you cut the pie, those are the ones that are going to cost more. Again, looking at, now these are talking about our OPEB. These are our long-term liabilities. These are so this one is our pension funding status. Everyone looks at this. This is your pension. At one time, and this always happens, so at one time in 2021, we were actually 100% funded. Then all of a sudden, the accounting world or the actuary world say, we're going to change the assumptions. We're going to change the interest rate. We're going to change how long people live. We're going to change. So this is always, you're always chasing this number. So as finance directors, like, okay, well, you told me it was going to be this was my cost, and now we're always just chasing. We're chasing the numbers because the actuaries are different than the accountants, right? They can just guess, and the accountant has to come up with the right answer. So now you can see that at this day and time, the last audit was done 2024, we were 87% funded. It's still something to be very proud of. It's more than most municipalities. So, and then for the final slide, we talk about the OPEB liability. This one, we're only 5% funded. The OPEB was started in 2020. It's not required to be funded as your pension is. So as of this point, we are just kind of funding as you go. We're putting in the $200,000 a year that is required by the deficit elimination plan for the landfill. So that's what we're doing as of this point. Until it's required, then we'll put in more. But there are municipalities that do fund it 100%. But at this point, until things change, who knows what healthcare is going to be down the road. So that's why a lot of people fear funding it. So, but other than that, that is my presentation.
Thank you, Ann.
Are there any questions that I can answer for you guys, or are you going to wait for the public hearing?
Any questions from council?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
No.
Okay, thank you.
If you'd like to give a comment, you can step to the podium and please state your name and address. There is a limit of 5 minutes for your comments. Your time during the hearing will not be counted against your time for public comments. Anyone? I see none. Can I get a motion to close the hearing?
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Councilmember Ganaga, supported by Councilmember O'Neill. Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilmember Prey? Yes. Councilmember Robbins?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Webb?
Yes.
Councilmember Ganaga?
Yes.
Councilmember O'Neill?
Yes.
Let the record show the public hearing closed at 7:29 p.m. Now is the time for public comments. So please step to the podium, give your name and address. You'll be limited to 5 minutes for your comments, and sharing time will not be permitted.
Fred Bora, 17829 Brinson. Behind my house, we have an alley, and I just got harassed by the code people the other day. There's I had weeds back there, so 2 years ago I put some mulch down to take care of the weeds. Now all of a sudden they're telling me I got to take the mulch out of there. I don't understand why. And so that's my complaint is, they're saying that they want, I put the mulch down to control weeds. I spent my money putting that mulch down, and now they're telling me I got to get rid of it. And I don't know what to do. So,
Did you receive a notice, or
no, she says she's going to send me a notice.
so you spoke with the ordinance officer?
Excuse me?
Did you speak with the ordinance officer?
Well, yeah, the lady, the code person that was out there.
Okay, and did she give you any reason why the mulch was not permitted?
She just said it was too high. There's only an inch of mulch, if that. So I don't understand, and it's like, I don't know where I go from here.
Any ideas, Jeff? Can you take his information?
I'll follow up with code.
Okay. The city manager Dolbeck will follow up with the code enforcement
Okay,
and check into that for you.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Darren Sunset, 17820 Brinson Street, Riverview. I'm wearing the proper hat for the night, but that's okay. I'd bring that up. We're number one. But anyhow, I can't understand this. Have you ever seen the alleys in Riverview? And somebody decorates the alleys and gets harassed our senior citizens. I put mulch down in mine with flowers. Why would that be an issue? Please. Don't make it difficult for people trying to make their yards beautiful. It's one thing if it looks bad, but walk down the alley. I had a couple neighbors. We went and walked before came out tonight. There are trees growing in the alley, and nothing has ever been done about that. And I looked at the tree, one of the trees they're trying to save. We must be paying a fortune to try to save these trees, or DTE's paying a fortune to do it, because whoever's having to do all this tree surgery, it looks like a cyclops tree that makes no sense. Cut the thing down. It's breaking the wires, but they're going to go after somebody who puts mulch and flowers. And it's not like it's in the way of the alley for people to pass. I just want you to be aware. I got pictures if you'd like to see. But it just doesn't, come on. You got to make sense and stuff. If that's the case, then there's no more fireplaces, no more chimneys, because they blow smoke like a lot of other things. We need to get rid of that in Riverview, because you got electric heating now. You don't need to have a fireplace. Makes about as much stupidity in that is what I'm trying to make the analogy of. Come on, the people are trying to decorate. This is the time of the year. We should be supporting it, because when they do this, they're buying it from people in our area, and guess what happens? It keeps the economy going. And if you go down, I'm not going to mention any other, but there's people that were on council. You go look behind their house. There's junk back there, but they didn't get cited. And I'm just putting that on record. It's important to back up people who care about their yards and then taking care of it and stuff. One other question. Council, have you received your quarterly financial reports?
Yes.
Okay, just want to check because y'all were not last time. Y'all didn't receive it, so I just want to make sure you received it on time. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sunset.
Mr. Mayor? Darren, if you
Councilmember.
could, if you have those on your phone, send those to my phone, will you? Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, we'll move on. Tonight, we have no organizational business. consent agenda. Is there any item council wants to remove from the consent agenda? Hearing none. 9.1, approve special events application from Gabriel Richard Catholic High School to place a sign near or on the city entrance sign on Pennsylvania. 9.2, award bid 2558 and authorize execution of agreement with R.J. Thomas Manufacturing Co. for park equipment recreation. 9.3, appoint bond counsel and financial advisors regarding 2025 water and sewer revenue bonds. 9.4, authorize mayor to sign the program year 2024 subscription agreement for community development block agreement and certifications. And that's it. What's council's wishes?
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Councilmember Prey, supported by Councilmember O'Neill. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Robbins,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Webb,
Yes.
Councilmember Ganaga,
Yes.
Councilmember O'Neill,
Yes.
Councilmember Prey.
Yes.
Resolutions. 10.1, adopt resolution for revised property exemption guidelines for 2025 and poverty exemption application in accordance with Public Act 253 of 2020. What's council's wishes?
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Councilmember O'Neill, supported by Councilmember Robbins. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Webb,
Yes.
Councilmember Ganaga,
Yes.
Councilmember O'Neill,
Yes.
Councilmember Prey,
Yes.
Councilmember Robbins.
Yes.
10.2, adopt notice of intent resolution to issue revenue bonds. Should I go through the background on this? Yeah. This resolution is the first step in the process as it relates to funding for major improvements to the water and sewer system at an amount of not to exceed $20 million. The resolution serves two main purposes, which are described as publication of intent. The Revenue Bond Act 94 Public Acts of Michigan 1933, as amended, requires the city to notify registered electors and water and sewage disposal system users of its intent to issue the bonds by publishing a notice in the newspaper, which gives the voters a referendum right on the issuance of the bonds. The bonds can be issued without a vote of the electors unless a valid petition is filed with the city clerk within 40 days of the publication of the notice of intent, signed by at least 10% of the registered electors. Secondly, the declaration of intent to reimburse. The resolution's second purpose is to meet the requirements of the federal tax law regulations pertaining to tax-exempt bonds. Treasury Regulation 1.150-2 provides in effect that an issuer of municipal bonds may reimburse for expenditures made prior to the issuance of bonds only if declared in its intention to do so in advance. There is a 60-day grace period in the regulation, and that is the resolution covers expenditures made up to 60 days prior to the date of resolution. What's council's wishes?
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Councilmember Ganaga, supported by Councilmember Prey. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Ganaga,
Yes.
Councilmember O'Neill,
Yes.
Councilmember Prey,
Yes.
Councilmember Robbins,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Webb.
Yes. Administration, 11.1, approve extension of the 2025 street sectioning program contract agreement with Savone Cement Incorporated for the DPW site concrete replacement in the amount of $471,000, $506.42, plus 10% contingency in the amount of $47,150.64, for a total of $518,657.06. Also, improve engineering fees to perform field evaluation, marking, contract administration, inspection, testing, and as built in the amount not to exceed $47,000. What's council wishes?
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Councilmember Robbins, supported by Councilmember O'Neill. Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilmember O'Neill,
Yes.
Councilmember Prey, Councilmember Robbins,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Webb,
Yes.
Councilmember Ganaga.
Yes.
Tonight we have no ordinances. Is there any other business that council would like to discuss?
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem,
Councilmember Robbins.
I would just like to publicly thank the fire department chief. Unfortunately, yesterday, we had to have a couple of your guys out for my youngest daughter. A little bit scary, didn't really know what was happening, and they were quick and kept everything very calm and got her to the emergency, and just very happy that it actually wasn't an emergency. But yeah, I greatly appreciate it. My family greatly appreciates it, and I just wanted to thank you and thank your people. Appreciate that.
I'm happy your daughter's okay, Dave. Anybody else? Can I get a motion to adjourn from Councilmember O'Neill?
So moved.
Support.
Supported by Councilmember Ganaga. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Prey? Yes. Councilmember Robbins?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Webb?
Yes.
Councilmember Ganaga?
Yes.
Councilmember O'Neill?
Yes.
Let the record show the meeting adjourned at 7:40 PM.